Welcome, everyone, to the Communicast. My name is Swamp the Swede, and I will be your host today. And you may call me Swamp, Swede, or Martin, if you want. And I'll answer to any of those, so don't worry. And today's podcast, we will discuss R&R, which is not rest and recuperation. In this case, I've just shortened it to remakes and reimagination. Wow. Remakes and reimaginings, that's the word. In video games. Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
Really?
You've ruined everything.
Okay, well, Alright. Good thing I wrote down, depending on how this goes. Anyway, perhaps we'll have to remake this podcast itself.
The HD remake.
HD.
Yeah, HD. And jokes will be attempted. Bad ones by me, and good ones by our own elf. And to drive the discussion and help me with these marvelous jokes that we'll have, I am joined by Dire Sloth.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Hello.
And I am also joined by Shenicus.
Hi.
Say good morning.
I'm also joined... Oh, yeah,
right,
say good morning.
Because the sun just got up.
You weird upside down person.
Yeah.
And we are joined by Mountain Gamer.
Howdy, everyone.
And last but not least, we are joined by Blowpop.
Hi.
So, to start us off, I thought that we could just shortly say what we've been playing lately before we go into the remakes of what we might have to talk about. So, how about we start with you, Katie? What have you been playing?
You caught me off guard. I finally beat Amnesia. I know it's not like a remake or anything, and I've been meaning to play the second one. I'm looking forward to the new Thief game, though. That's coming out this month.
You didn't have to say if you were playing a remake or not.
Well, just Amnesia then. Amnesia, and it's terrifying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Great.
I will not play
it would get so scary, like I would have to stop and just kind of like emotionally gather myself and go turn on the light and walk downstairs and be like, okay, I'm not gonna die. And then go back and play it.
How about you, Shane? What you've been playing?
Outside my usual MMO spiels and StarCraft 2 and everything Blizzard's ever made. I really haven't been playing a lot of new games. I have played Minecraft recently, got back into that, because some of my friends started up a little server, and I was like, yeah, I'll join in, and they're often making all their little tiny houses, and I've just made a giant hellstone brick tower that touches the skybox. So, yeah.
So, alright. So what about you, Jesse? Have you been playing anything?
I decided to go back and replay Perfect Dark again on the Xbox, since they re-released it for the Xbox.
Oh.
Which has been really great. And then I've also been playing the HD remake of Beyond Good and Evil. Also on the Xbox. So, a couple of good games that you can get for pretty cheap on Xbox Live.
Someone's been practicing for this podcast.
Alright, practice.
And what about you, Blowpop? What have you been playing?
Well, that's really a matter of what I've been playing on. On my PS3, I've been playing my HD remake of Shadow of the Colossus. On my Xbox, I've been playing Red Dead Redemption and the HD remake of Beyond Good and Evil. And on Steam, I've been playing Beyond Good and Evil, Psychonauts, and Bioshock.
Goodness. Well then, good. We have one game that at least two people have actually played. Then. Great.
I have to say, for Blowpop, I love Red Dead Redemption. Possibly my favorite game.
I just started it, so...
Get used to dying a lot.
What have you played, Martin?
What I've been playing? Well, I haven't been playing Red Dead Redemption, unfortunately, because it's only a console game, which I'm very sad about. But I've actually been playing some Orcs Must Die lately. And also, I've been playing Muramasa the Demon Blade on Wii.
Oh.
Which is actually one of my favorite games because you get to be a samurai and be amazing.
It's a fun game to watch.
It's actually really fun to play too. It's a little bit wonky sometimes because you jump with pressing up, which I've never really gotten the hang of. But it's a very good game. So that's what I've been playing. But speaking about Thief, we can start with this. Are there any remakes or reimaginings you're looking forward to? So, since you mentioned Thief, Katie, you get to go first.
What was the question?
Any remakes you're looking forward to?
Sorry, I kind of don't.
Thank you for listening.
No, yeah, I actually, like, confession, I've never played any of the Thief games. Like I said earlier, I really like the Yahtzee and Jim Rhinedown, and Yahtzee did the Thief 4 little, bit. So I've been meaning to play them, but then it just sounded kind of cool in general. I thought about maybe, my friend is letting me borrow his PS4, and I thought about maybe going and getting the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. I know it's not, I don't know how I feel about it, but I probably won't since I've just already played the first or the other remake of it. It's the remake of the remake, I guess. I'm not really sure what to say about that.
Okay. So, what about you, Jesse? What are you looking forward to? Do you have any remakes or anything
That are
in
upcoming?
mind? Yeah.
No.
None at all?
No.
I mean, I understand that there might not be any
I feel
under
like
your
this
radar.
should be easy because there's so many remakes coming out all the time, and all of a sudden, now it feels like, wait, what is coming out that's a remake?
Yeah.
Or a different, like, reimagining. The old...
I've been so far behind with console games that I'm buying a lot of HD remakes I've never played before. For example, Good and Evil. That I'm trying to fill more of a back catalog than I am looking forward.
Well, I guess that's... It's semantics, but you're looking forward to playing it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Beyond Good and Evil is a very good game.
It would be nice if they came out with a new Star Fox game, but that's about all I can think of.
Yeah, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So, what about you, Blowpop? Do you have any remakes that you are looking forward to playing?
I don't have anything that's coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still kind of holding out for the hope that they might actually do Psychonauts.
Yeah.
Ah, in a HD
Yes.
collection? Or?
Yes, because I want achievements with that.
Psychonauts is
Didn't
such a
they
good
have a
game.
Kickstarter for a second one a while back or something, or am I just imagining that?
I don't know if that went into the whole Broken Age thing instead.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything about it, so... I mean, they have enough money now.
Just getting my hopes up.
Yeah, I mean... What is it they say? Tim Schafer moves in mysterious ways. Oh, so what... Yeah, anything else you want to say?
No, it's really all I'm holding out for. Everything else is
Okay.
just plain stuff that I own and haven't gotten to yet.
Fair enough. So, what about you, Shane? Do you have anything?
I think the only HD thing that's coming out that I'm kind of curious to play is probably Final Fantasy X. But that's on the PS3, which means I have to borrow my brother's. And it's just...
Oh, I see.
Because I never finished the normal versions. I got like 75% of the way through the games, and I'm like, why am I still playing this? I hate all of these characters.
You know, that's originally why I stopped playing Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah. It's a slow realization for me whenever I play certain Final Fantasy games, so...
Why am I doing this? I don't care about you.
Yeah.
You're named after a freaking weather condition.
And I did end up getting stuck on a boss, and they're like, hey, you're supposed to be like 20 levels higher than you should be for fighting this guy. I'm like, I have literally had no reason to grind the rest of the game, and now I do? Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So, I might finish it with the HD. Might.
Alright. Fair enough. I honestly only have one HD remake in mind. Because one of my favorite games of all time is Homeworld 2, to be specific. But I don't know if any of you have ever played Homeworld.
No.
No.
Nope. Most people here seem to be console gamers, so
You're all alone.
But I'm all alone. But it's a PC game, and it's the first space RTS, so you could move in 3 dimensions, and you actually had like build an army and stuff. But they're releasing that. The original, Gearbox is releasing it in HD, and I hope they don't mess it up. I really, really hope they don't. So that brings us wonderfully into our next question, which is remake versus reimagining. When does one of them become the other? When does a HD remake suddenly become a reimagining? And I'm just wondering then if we can discuss what the difference is, and perhaps if we can find one. It's possible we might not find a line between where one becomes the other. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And if anyone wants to go first, I'm not going to pick out any victim to go first for this.
It's like, please.
If I stay quiet.
Are you asking us to specifically say when we think? Because I see those as two separate entities. Having a remake of a game that already exists versus maybe stopping the ball and where a game is gone and trying to reimagine it to be something different for a different generation, maybe. And those are, for me, those are two different areas that we would discuss about.
Well, I'll pull out an example, because I saw someone play Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this.
Yeah.
And gals. Apparently, there's some subtle things they did. I mean, it's obviously done in HD graphics, so it's updated with 1080p and everything like that. But they also remade some gameplay things, such as, for example, when you shoot with a cannon on the boat, you now have a crosshair that shows you where you're going to hit.
Oh.
For example. And there was also the beginning, before you get the sword, you have to do some kind of training against this old man, like do blocking and things like that. And apparently that is way more lenient in the new HD release, that you can take more hits before he fails you, so you don't have to redo it as often.
Oh.
If you're really bad at it. So, I mean, in some cases it's been made easier. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some games that you might think of where they've done perhaps similar things. I mean, in this case, it's very specific to just Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Yeah.
But when does that line, if we start out from Zelda: The Wind Waker, from it just being an HD remake to actually being partially a reimagining in that case?
It's really up to the developer, because when you have a game that's already pre-existing, you can decide to either just go ahead and upgrade the graphics and release it, or you can spend a little more effort into looking back at the game and saying, what were some issues that people might have had? Because there's those who buy remakes for nostalgia purposes, and then there are those of a younger generation who are buying it because they've heard about this game and they want to get into it. If a game looks nice but still has really bad gameplay or weird quirks that make the game hard to play, as a developer, you're going to want to clean that up a bit so that you can draw in the newer players who may not be as lenient with those little quirks.
Yeah, like the Deus Ex Human Revolution HD, they when they released that, they improved all the boss fights, because that was what everyone complained about. Like, so because everyone was like, "Oh, I'm super stealthy, but suddenly I need a minigun to fight the boss." It's like, all right, we see this criticism, so we'll make it so you can hack something with a minigun, so you don't need to carry one. Problem solved.
So what did it change, for example? Like, do you know any specific... Because I don't know... I haven't played Deus Ex until, since the first game was released, so...
They improved the graphics of the game, because it's a HD release, and, they rolled all the DLC into the actual game itself, so, there are a few pre-order DLCs.
Game of the year.
Yeah, it's basically the game of the year, but they actually rolled it into the game itself, so, you find all the DLC weapons exist in the world itself now, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And the bosses were just changed so that you can actually stealth around them. So it was like it's a proper re-release essentially, because they buffed up the graphics and then fixed some gameplay issues because no one liked the bosses.
So, for example, one of the bosses, I'm sure if you've played this, you probably know about this boss. It's the one in the mainframe, the girl
Fedorova.
with the... Fedorova. How would you beat her now? Like, what is the difference now? Do you know?
You can hack a door, which leads into the control room for the area, and then you can from there you can either activate the electrical floor, so you can shock her to death, activate turrets that will attack her, or activate the gas control, which will gas the room and slowly reduce her HP.
I'm taking notes for when I play this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do it. Okay, well, I didn't actually know about that. That's actually a pretty nifty feature.
Yeah, because
But then it's yeah, go ahead actually.
Yeah, because before to fight her, that you needed guns and shit. So I'd actually carry because the first boss, I had no idea. I couldn't stealth around him, so that was a very long, drawn-out fight. But before you fight Fedorova, there's a room with a minigun and 500 rounds of ammo. So it's just like, yep, gonna need this. So yeah, it's a nice change.
Well, that's nice. Okay, so going back to the Legend of Zelda thing, where they just changed some small things and basically just upped the graphics totally. In this case, they did a similar thing to Deus Ex, from what I understand. And so, what about the Shadow of the Colossus, the HD collection? This is for you, Blowpop, actually, because you're the one who's been playing this. Is there any noticeable difference that you've seen between the two?
The only difference,
the original and
the only difference is just the HD. It's essentially the same game because I have it both on the PS2 and the PS3 remake.
Okay.
It's all the combat's the same. Actually, no. One of the boss battles is a little bit more difficult, but I don't know if that's just me not playing it in a while or the game itself, but
okay,
that's really the only change that I've noticed with it.
All right. Fair enough. So then we have a few examples now that have either they've changed it so that it feels either easier in the terms of it's more easygoing, I guess, on the player in terms of Wind Waker. We also have Deus Ex, which in some cases I'd say it went back on its MO in a sense that it meant to be as the original statement for the game was supposed to be, like you can beat every boss without using combat, in a sense. Like it tried to correct its faults that it did when it actually released the first time, in a sense. I don't know if you would agree with that, Shane.
It's a shame you have to buy the first version that's just, maybe not made as well, and then you have to go buy the fixed version of it. Quote unquote fixed. Or the remake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean...
good...
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird line between, is it really remade? Or is it in a sense, reimagining that they took the original idea and, finally put those goals to the final product, like defeating bosses without, battle, and like if you go the stealth route, you don't have to force yourself into a story situation where you have to fight with a gun or whatever.
Because it's sounding to me like because I haven't played it completely yet. I started Deus Ex a while back, and I just haven't finished it. But this is just what I'm hearing. Kind of like it's like, oh, I bought this game, and it was a really nice game, and then later, then they come out with their fixed version of it, or the remake of it. I'm just not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, that forcing players who bought the original game to actually force them to, if you want to experience it the right way,
hey, we fixed it, so come buy it again.
To be fair, though, if you previously owned Deus Ex, you got a 75% discount buying the new version, and it's also, I think it was like, it's a year and a half between the old version and the re-release, so it's not too bad, considering they did actually give us a discount instead of going, nah, fuck it, you pay $50 for this. So it is nice. Like on Steam, it was basically, oh hey, here you go, have this like HD re-release for $5. And
oh, nice.
Considering there's like a year and a half between the two, like so a lot of newer players will see the HD re-release like in stores and all that before they see the old version. Like if I go to the local game shop, I have no idea what everyone else has as theirs. We have EB Games. Just like you'll see it just Deus Ex HD as opposed to Human Revolution.
Is it called the Director's Cut or something?
Yeah. Deus Ex.
That's the same thing, right?
Deus Ex, Human Revolution, Director's Cut. So DS HRDR.
I think it's funny, the whole 75% sale that you get. It's like, here, you paid for 75% of the game before. Now we added 25% new stuff, so you just have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
In a way. But, alright, so, Jesse.
Hello.
I have you left, right? What are your thoughts about remakes and reimaginings?
Well, I was going to ask everyone else a question. I don't have a good segue into this, except for we were just talking about discounts for buying Human Revolution. But when you're going to buy a remake game, what is the threshold of price that you find acceptable for going and buying a game that exists already, but that you're going to buy an HD remake for? So, for example, when I bought Perfect Dark on the Xbox, it was really cheap. It was like $5. It was a really good sale. So I did not hesitate to buy it. Halo Anniversary, on the other hand, started off as $40.
Ooh.
I did not own Halo Anniversary or Halo 1 already, so I was okay paying the $40 for a game I didn't already own. But I feel like that's a bit steep for an older game like that. What are your thoughts about the threshold for what you should be paying for a remake?
I think it really depends on, like, if it's just the one game or if it's something like Ico Shadow of the Colossus that came as a 2-pack in one for HD remakes.
Oh, yeah. It had, was it Ico?
Yeah, it had Ico in it, which Ico, if you try and find it on the PS2, is a pain in the ass to find, and a pain in the ass to find for cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trust me, I spent like 5 years trying to find it and gave up until they announced the HD remake of them.
Okay. So, I would actually, since you asked the question, I can get some kind of answer. For example, for the Homeworld 2 HD that I'm looking forward to a lot, I still play the original Homeworld 2, even though it came out like 14 years ago now, something? 13? And it still runs on Windows 8 and everything. But for me, since it's a PC game, it's hard. Like, the compatibility issues that you get with older games can make them unplayable. Like, you just can't start them.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had to redo manually with like config files and everything to get the resolution correctly, to get like the UI and the screen text and everything to be like scaled right for the 1080 that I have on my monitor. So for me, I am willing to actually buy. I'm not willing to buy like $50 for the game, but I'm willing to pay perhaps something else. In this case, maybe the real game, just the normal game, since I've already played it, would be something like $20. That would be okay. But then I would perhaps be more viable to buy like a, not collection, like collector's edition or something, but maybe like a remembrance pack or something like that. That kind of looks back to the old game. Like, oh, here you get a small model of Sajuk, or like a concept book or something. I would love that. That would be awesome.
They had a little Ganondorf statue with the Zelda Wind Waker remake.
No, they did?
Yeah, it was really, really neat. I didn't have a Wii U. I still don't, but I was really tempted to get it just for the statue.
The Wind Waker Ganon?
Yeah,
or...
yeah. He's got his...
look a little bit different.
No, it's the Wind Waker Ganon. All
Okay.
cartoony and
That's
plump.
awesome. Plump.
Fat
He was
Ganon.
very round.
So I would not pay full, like I wouldn't pay full price for it because it's not a new game, I hope. But I would pay for like something that called back to the original game in some sense.
Yeah. I would depend. It would, like, for me, it would depend mostly on the level of the remake of the game. So, like, with Deus Ex Human Revolution 1, I wouldn't pay full price for it. That's because I've played it previously, because full price for me is $100, and it's just like, you know?
Holy moly.
Welcome
Holy
to
balls.
Australia, where everything's hot and expensive.
And tries to kill
Wow.
you.
To be fair, the spiders don't really try to kill you unless they're a certain species. But besides
That's
that,
awesome.
And to be fair, most of the spiders actually haven't killed anybody recently.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, back on topic. little spider aside. Like, it's like it's a very, it is a HD remake and it does fix issues of the previous game, but the fact that like the changes aren't big enough to justify a full game price tag for me. But then on the other hand, we've got Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver,
Yes.
which I think they were like 10 years after the original game was released, and then they added heaps of new things, previous interactions with the other interactions with the other games that were released, like complete graphics overhaul, like basically rebuilt the game from the ground up. So that
And you got the
level
Poke
of
Walker with it.
yeah, you got that, which I still walk around with because reasons.
Because
It's
reasons.
special.
I want a Magby,
That
goddammit.
is the best reason to walk around with something, because reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and like just the sheer amount of work they did for it, and the fact that it's just so completely different to the base game that justifies the full game price of $69, I think it was here. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah,
not buying a PlayStation 3 or 4 for a lot of reasons, and that's because it's $250 more than everywhere else.
Why? Oh my gosh.
Because Australia.
Inflation.
They just don't want you to have it.
No.
Yeah.
We'll get one and we'll send it to you. Well, no, that might not work.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
We could pitch in.
Nice, but...
So what about you, Katie? Do you have any games and game opinions about that?
I agree with what he just said. Like, unless it's just a complete overhaul, or at least as far as like pricing it goes, it's just not something I know I'd be willing to pay. Like, I'm usually pretty satisfied with whatever game I played before, unless it was something I just really, really wanted to play again. Like, there was one time, it was my first time playing Silent Hill 2, and I was just going to buy the HD remake for it, but one of my friends who even suggested it to me just insisted to not even bother with the HD remake. He said because they took out something. They took out the fog, which I don't blame him. Like, it was such an atmosphere thing, and I really like the second one. But I never got to beat it because we were playing on his PS3, and it was an older one, and it just died when I got really far into the game. So now I don't know, like, I'm really close to caving and buying that HD remake because I'm not sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
What happens to James Sunderland?
I know!
I really don't want the HD remake because it's like, yeah, we removed the fog. Oh, wait, this was like an old
Essential.
PlayStation 2 game, so they were using the fog to hide the
limitations.
Build.
Didn't they also take out the original voice actors for it and re-record it?
Yeah, I heard that.
I think they did.
Wow.
I'm not touching it with like a 20-foot pole because I saw a YouTube video of it. I'm like, that's a HD re-release. That's ugly as sin.
So it's not always for the best, like a remake or anything. And this is just a slightly off topic. It wasn't official or anything, but I think everyone's heard of the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movie. And there was a poster, I think, on IMDb of the turtles.
Turtle explosions.
I thought they all just explode. If you go on there, I actually really like, and again, it's not like super official. I don't think. Someone just happened to say to me like, "Hey, they have a poster out," and I went and looked it up. But they actually look I think they look kind of neat. I think it's a neat. I guess in this case it's a reimagining. So just him taking it and putting it in his own style, even though his reputation, everyone is like, oh no, not looking forward to that. I would watch it with some skeptical feelings, but still.
Well, thank you for that.
Sorry.
Because that leads perfectly into what I have to say next.
I win!
Segway Metal goes to
it's
you.
Segway Sloth now.
So, if the Ninja Turtles movie that Michael Bay is making, which we're all looking forward to seeing...
In a way.
In a way. In our own special way. What is a remake, then? What's the difference? What is a remake and what is a reimagining? Shane, how about you start, because you sighed first.
Yeah, and the benefits of doing an arts degree is I actually have a sort of academic response to this as well.
You did too? You also have one?
Yeah.
An arts degree, that is, not an academic response.
Bunch of hippies.
Creative writing degree. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like the most useless degree in the world. But...
Shh, don't let anyone know that. Go on.
No, it's totes good for your jobs. Yeah, totally good.
It is.
But yeah, and I was also looking at this earlier. A remake is essentially just releasing it with changes. So to work with Pokemon again, you've got black and white, not black and white, like red and yellow, and then they release red and blue, and then they release yellow with changes and all that. So they just kind of tweak it a bit. And that's like the small scale remakes, and then you got the much larger remakes like the Heart Gold Soul Silver, which is just overhaul the entire system.
But I would say that the Heart Gold, like you said, like they rebuilt it from the ground up. I would say that's a reimagining in a way. Like they took the Pokemon formula of, you know, the basic kind of turn-based combat with Pokemon, and you have the, you know, fire type, leaf, whatever, all that stuff, and then rebuilt the actual like game in a different way to like make it tweak it a bit.
Because it's still the same game as old Gold and Silver. Like, it's the same story, same progression, same... it's the same thing, it's just, you know, they've updated it so for, like, graphics-wise, appearance-wise, gameplay changes that have occurred in the past, past 2 generations between the two, like, between the old and the new. Like, So, like, you'll still run along, get all the badges, fight the Elite Four, then get all the other badges, and it's just, you know, prettier and more enhanced graphics.
Say all the Pokemon games. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No worries. A reimagining, I would say, would be that Wolfenstein game that came out.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, there's a new one.
Yeah. There's a new one that came out.
Is it out already?
It's been out for ages.
I think I played that.
I got it somewhere.
Okay.
It's on Steam.
So why is that a reimagining, though?
That's a reimagining because I think it's done by a different company or something. I don't know, but and it has a lot of callbacks to the old series, but they overhauled it, both like gameplay wise and graphics wise, so it's a little more modern in the gameplay. They called back to some of the old things and all that, but it's got like different story progression, different appearance and all that. Like, it's still in the same goofy, campy kind of school that Wolfenstein 3D was in, but it's also different enough in that sense. Like, they've tweaked the gameplay and tweaked the graphics and tweaked the story progression, and the maps are completely different. So, like, that's more of a reimagining than a remake.
Oh, okay. Because it was made by... I guess in this case, it seems to be a lot about... it's not done by the same people. Like, the original creators don't have the same artistic right anymore. Like, it's given over to a new team or something.
Yeah?
Could you say that? Well, we'll go on and hear everyone else's. So,
I need to investigate.
I need to investigate. Well, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's not a difference between reimagining and remake. So, how about you, Jesse?
When looking at the difference between the two, I mean, this is all one personal opinion. A remake is taking a game that has already existed. I mean, there's the type of remake where you take a game that's existed and just giving it an update of some kind, a graphical update. There's a remake where you keep the core concepts and all you're doing is maybe changing, you're just adding on to it.
Like Wind Waker did?
Yeah.
Or like small tweaks, like, okay, let's just add a crosshair to the cannon and some small things.
And I'm so conflicted on this. Like, I have an example, and I don't know which way it would go. For example, if you thought about Mega Man, and then you look at Mega Man X, the first few games of each series is very similar to each other. It has the same core gameplay. It's just they update it because now they have new equipment to build a game with. They made it play nicer and play better, and it's smoother. And well, yeah, but I feel like that's kind of a remake as well. Mm-hmm. Whereas a reimagining is you sit down and you look at what is the soul of the game. Like, when you describe this game, do you want to keep on that path? So, like, when they did the remake or the reimagining of Tomb Raider, they said, okay, here's this kind of gameplay. We're going to change it to be more of a survivalist type game. So now it's changed a bit. I don't know. It's hard for me to describe personally because it's all judgmental in my one opinion of that's a remake and that's a reimagining.
I
but I'm glad you brought up.
I agree with
go
the
ahead.
Tomb Raider. That is more of a reimagining than a remake.
Okay.
It's a reboot. Now we have to add another R to it. For reboot.
No, stop. No, stop. I'm not calling this an R cast. No.
No, it's called the R cast.
Okay, so go on, Blowpop, about Tomb Raider. I'm glad you brought that up, Jesse, by the way. That's one of the few remakes I've actually played, or reimaginings. In this
Reboot.
I haven't played it yet. I've seen it played by like 4 other people.
Okay.
I just haven't gotten it out of my friend's hands yet to borrow it. It would help if she was home, but, you know. But yeah, like, I played the original games when they first came out, and, you know, comparing that to what it is now, you have your core character of Lara Croft, you have kind of basic gameplay, and then you just have this whole other aspect that they threw the new one into. And it just, it feels new, even though it's kind of building on the older concept of Tomb Raider. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Katie?
I'm the same way. Like, I played all the older ones when I was younger, and that was like the first games that like our parents ever bought us. I was kind of like, I liked the remake Tomb Raider. I just was kind of sad because I felt like she was saying, they added some stuff from the old stuff, but at the same time, like, if you play it, you got the big island that you're on, and you find, or you, as you go, you can find things to unlock the I guess, quote unquote, the puzzle rooms. But I was really sad because in the old games, pretty much the entirety of the game was like everything was a puzzle, whereas in this one it's just very, I don't want to say linear, but I mean, you pretty much are like, okay, I will climb this wall, climb this one, shoot these guys, keep going. But when you get to those little puzzle rooms, the puzzles were just really easy, and it didn't really give you any. I mean, it was just like an unlock area. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I was actually a little sad that there wasn't more like, I guess.
Puzzles
I wish they would have.
Expression.
Yeah, like I feel like they took too much from like I've been calling it Uncharted syndrome. It's probably not the best thing to compare it to, but I felt like so, because I mean, there's a lot of duck and cover now. I mean, I liked using a bow and doing little upgrades. It bugged the crap out of me that they did a whole training thing with hunting animals. Never did again.
Yeah, that's
never
true.
did that. Like,
Go
it wasn't
hunt all these animals. You won't need.
Like maybe between like going to different places, I was like, man, I'm bored. I'm just gonna I saw a rabbit. I'm gonna go get it, and it distracted me, and I would run after it and then lose it, and then it would just become my whole purpose in life. All of a sudden, was to find that rabbit. But yeah, no, I have mixed feelings on it.
Well, I mean, taking out the whole thing, if Tomb Raider is good or bad, I do think that. In this case, I think we've established that it is a reimagining because it is different from the spirit of the old games. Like you said, Katie, it's not the same thing as the old ones, which was like a puzzle connecting to another puzzle to connecting to another puzzle, and then maybe a freaking dinosaur in there. You know,
dinosaurs
for good measure.
They're just raptors, no big deal. I'm Lara Croft, and I'm gonna just pistol them to death.
And then there's a T-Rex.
I always just hid under the waterfall cave, and when it would run by, I'd shoot it.
Oh, okay.
I cheated.
God, that was the scariest thing when I was young, was the wolves.
Yeah.
Like, for the original.
Yes.
Oh, God, it's so scary. But I mean, I think that in defense of the game itself, this is not going into the discussion we have, but like the actual game itself, I thought it was good because since the spirit of the game had changed, since they reimagined it, the new team had redone it. I do think that the spirit of Lara Croft had also changed, because she's like this is the first time she's like alone, in a sense. You know, that's her first time she has to actually survive against all the forces of nature and man and whatever. Like, it's... I felt it was good. I felt it was good, and I actually saw the hunting with the deer in the beginning as an actual tutorial segment. But it's up to each person to have their own subjective opinion about the actual game.
No, Martin, that's wrong.
No, I'm sorry, Katie.
Your opinion is horrible, and you should feel that.
Hey, Martin, how come you haven't invited me to any more podcasts? Oh, reasons.
Because you don't answer me on Facebook. Anyway.
So
Love you.
Love you too. Go on, Jesse.
I guess when we're talking about reimaginings, we always seem to lean towards what is new, what is being added on. And a lot of times people don't talk about what's being taken away, what has to be taken away for it to be a reimagining. So in the case of Tomb Raider, it wasn't that they just added on a different mechanic, such as, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like
Duck and
they had to
covering.
take away, duck and cover, but they took away some of the confidence from the main character. They took away some of that, some of that cockiness, and they kind of changed the character's persona. Well, obviously they're explaining it by saying this is a much older Laura, a younger Laura. But
and also, I mean, they also took away some of her sex appeal that apparently was in the previous games. You know, she's not as curvy as she was before.
I don't know. She's still pretty.
I mean, she's not unattractive, but I mean,
she's
it's not
still
as
conventionally
obscene.
Attractive.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's
but
very
but
true.
it's
She's
not
a
that
D,
in
not a
your
G.
face kind of attractive.
No, I mean, it's
She's a B, not a G. They downsized her cuts.
she's not a. Wow. Okay, that was a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, someone else said it. I just was repeating. I don't know if anyone else had heard it, but
Well,
it was funny in my head.
That was really funny, though. That was good. That was good. All right, so go ahead, Jesse. Anything? I'm sorry, I can't remember where you were.
just when you're talking about reimagining a game, you also need to look for what was taken away to change it, rather than just what was added on.
Okay, that's very true. I mean, because if we take, usually the only thing that is added to a remake is usually just better graphics. Usually.
Yeah.
But I mean, for example, some other games like, for example, Halo Anniversary. What was taken away from that? Since you're the Halo guy, Jesse. Sorry, you're the Halo guy now.
It's the exact same game. The difference is you get the updated graphics. What was nice is that they let you switch between the old and the new graphics with just a button press.
Yeah, that was really neat.
And they add on extra multiplayer maps for Reach, which was really awesome, and which is why I paid $40 for it. But I think that was about it. They didn't take anything away because it's a remake. When you're talking about a game that was well received, I think it's hard for developers to say, what do we want to pull from this? Because you don't want to pull anything unless it's something glitchy or something that causes a lot of problems. Whereas a reimagining, that gives you the opportunity as a developer now to say, okay, we're kind of starting from scratch, but what is something that we could take away or add on that could really change how people want to play this game and what kind of audience will now pick up this game? Before, maybe the audience... Maybe we weren't attracting the hardcore shooters or the Nathan Drake type players. Now with this type of reimagining, we're taking away these kind of things that they weren't interested in, adding in new stuff. And that's kind of how I see the remake versus the reimagining. Is the remake is just either vanilla, here it is again, but with new graphics. Whereas the reimagining, it's a lot more freedom to pull and take from it.
Yeah, that's much better than what I had said previously, and closer in line to the.
And there you have it.
So together
Saying
as
other
a
things.
collective consciousness, as Legion, can we decide that is there a line where a remake passes over into a reimagining, or the other way around? Like, is there?
I would say if the remake changes things thematically, like
Okay.
like a lot of the remakes
So
we
like
talk
the spirit
about
of the game.
Yeah, I think I should change what I said previously to from the Wolfenstein does seem more of a remake than a reimagining, because while they did change things, it's not significant enough. The joys of looking up all my old notes on this crap. Kind of why I've been silent for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, with remakes, it is that they do just seem to be that tech thing. So we take the original and just give it a polish, but when reimagining, it's we take the original and then just change it completely. For a film equivalent, it would be the old Batman movies, which was we got this grim dark Batman, so we'll reimagine him into the more campy version. And the grim Batman was also a reimagining of the old campy version of Batman. So, yeah, kind of recursive reimaginings.
They'll just live off of each other forever.
Yeah. And that's kind of at the point where the remake becomes a reimagining, when it starts changing things outside the base. So, as Jesse was saying, when you start tweaking things okay, the fans didn't really like that angle of the story, or, we should make the character a little more, grim and more heroic, and when they start changing the base components of the story, that kind of thing, that's when it starts to move into the reimagining.
Okay, so I have a counterpoint, or a mind boggler, we can call it.
Ooh.
For example, have you guys played Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Yes.
All of us have. The new one and the old one, not everyone maybe have played the old one, but you kind of know what it is, no?
Yep.
Yeah.
I played the old, but not the new.
Yeah, okay. So, Mortal Kombat is a fighting game. I honestly, if I play a fighting game, I do not play it for the story. I'm not sure if I'm alone on this.
Yeah, no,
No, that's accurate.
It depends on my mood on why I'm playing it.
Okay.
The last fighting game I played that had any story that I was even remotely interested in was Bloody Roar on the GameCube, and I just liked transforming into a cat. So.
Well, good. Okay, so then we have a game that has, in essence, no story that we really care about for the reasons why we play it. Really, you can. Of course, there's people who care about the story, but you play the actual gameplay is why you're there to play the game. So, what can we say about that then? The line there, the line between a remake and reimagining, is that game a remake or is it a reimagining?
Mortal Kombat's a remake.
It's a remake.
Yeah.
And why would you say that?
Well, if you look at it, every single game has the basic same story for the Mortal Kombat universe. It's this group is trying to invade this group, and this group's trying to keep everything how it is. And that is the entire basis of it.
Okay.
That hasn't
Pokemon.
changed in... Yeah, pretty much. It hasn't
bloody.
changed since... It hasn't
Finish
changed
him,
since
Pikachu.
the arcades. Yeah,
Okay.
it hasn't changed since the original arcade version, which is what I started on. So...
Okay.
And it's always that same kind of bloody, but not too serious kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
It's a big spectacle fighter.
Well,
And,
and you can't really be serious with the babalities and the animalities and...
And as the technology has gotten better and the graphics have improved, they've just, been able to ramp up the silliness of the fights, throw the buzzsaw onto the ground and cut him in half kind of thing, and amp up the ridiculousness, but still keep it in line with the general theme of the game.
Yeah. So, but I mean that in that case, we can't really. I would say like we can't really say that since it was a different developer, no, that used the or that made the Mortal Kombat game, the newer one, was it from the original?
I actually don't know that.
Because if that's the case, then we can't really say that, you know, because the developer changes, it might not necessarily become a remake or a reimagining. Like, I think that can be taken out of the equation in some sense, but I don't know what you guys think.
I don't know, because they changed Sonic's developers many times, and...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We do not speak that name here.
Do you consider... I forget what it was even called. The one where he turns into a beast. Is that a reimagining?
Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah.
Where he's a werehog. Which doesn't make sense. Yeah.
He's a human hog. No.
He's a human hedgehog.
I would say that's a reimagining because I think that the best explanation is still what Shane has said about like the spirit of the game. Because Sonic is about going, well, not to, you know, what's it called, beating a dead horse, but gotta go fast. Yeah. That's what Sonic is about. Yeah, exactly. So when you're a werewolf, you're kind of like lumbering around and killing things. It's awkward, right? Like that's not what Sonic is about, for me. So that becomes a reimagining in that case.
So Mortal Kombat was originally done as Midway Studios or Midway Games, and the new one was NetherRealm Studios, which is formerly known as Midway Studios Chicago.
Okay, so I guess they were related in some way then.
Going incognito.
Yeah. So they still have, I guess in that case, they had the essence of the original team behind it, so.
I would say that you can still reimagine without being the same authors. I think I just cut someone off there, so.
No, that's fine, Shane.
Oh.
Keep going.
Alright, you see it a lot with, movies and books and things where, you know, like you'll have a remake of a movie from 40 years ago, or a remake of a book from 200 years ago. But then at the same time, you also have reimaginings of a book, like a lot of Romeo and Juliet kind of things. So, you know, people will remake the Romeo and Juliet.
I actually just watched
keep the same themes.
I just watched Romeo and Juliet the other night, and I have a confession. It's so cute. I like it. There, I said it.
I think the Doors is the best thing in that, where it says to be and
not to be.
To be.
Just all their little
That's actually
references. Yeah, I think it's cute. I liked it.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But okay, so
sorry, moving on.
I guess I guess we've actually come up with like the definite line is like when the spirit of the game changes. Like
when it
for
becomes
example,
Sonic Unleashed.
When it becomes Sonic Unleashed. Remake Unleashed. Okay,
so we have a remake of a remake. Is it a...
No.
Sorry, no, I'm just being stupid.
No.
I'll stop.
Remake?
A remake of a reimagining of a remake. It just never ends.
So, for example...
Remaginake?
Remaginake.
That's it. We can only have one R now because it's Remaginake. Martin, it just got easier.
Stop.
We're making your job easier. Come on.
Well, no.
Thank you, really.
We haven't even factored Remastered into this yet.
Oh, wait. So reboot, remastered, reimagined, and remade.
Remake.
So now you've got
Thank
4
you.
R's, except Remaginake now, so only 3. You're back on 3. Sorry, we just made it worse.
Okay. So we're in the 4th dimension of R's. R raised by 4. Anyway, I was gonna say,
keep it together.
So what are some games then that we could say are true remakes that each of us have? For example, Blow Pop. For example, Shadow of the Colossus. Is that a true remake for you?
Yes.
Absolutely true.
Shadow of the Colossus and Beyond Good and Evil are true remakes for me.
They have the same thing as you play them when you first play them?
Yep.
Great. And what about you, Katie? Do you have any remakes?
Oh yeah, Resident Evil 4. I mean, I know it wasn't like it literally just went from being on the GameCube or the PS2, and I bought it for my 360 and downloaded it. It's just a little HD, yeah.
Which one?
Resident Evil 4.
Is that the one in Africa?
No, that's the 5th one.
No.
The 5th one's okay.
This is the one in Spain.
Yeah, this is the great one, the amazing one with Leon, when everyone still liked him.
Oh, and with the annoying president's daughter.
Help, Leon!
Yeah.
I'm useless.
But she was a good kind of useless because you could just stick her in a bin and problem solved.
I saw
That's how escort NPCs need to be.
I know. I saw a video. It was a really long one, but they did a bit of that where he put Ashley into a bin, and then he just threw the bin at a zombie or at a Ganados or whatever, and she crawls out like, "You're an asshole."
That's amazing.
So yeah.
But that's how they should
All
always
right.
be handled.
Yeah, get in and make this heavier.
So what about you, Jesse? Do you have any absolute remakes that you have?
Yeah, I had the Age of Empires 2 HD remake, which I love because it's a game that on my current laptop my old disc doesn't quite play as well. Especially since all my oceans turned to a dark purple. So it was nice to go on Steam and just buy the remake, the HD version of it, because I could have the same game. There's a few tweaks that they made to help it out, but otherwise it's the same game that I've always loved.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because I was wondering about that, because in that case, they also fixed a lot of the compatibility issues, like actually being able to play it on modern... Through Steam now, you can get like a lot of help to actually run it on your PC now.
Yeah. And
just having it downloadable is nice.
And because it's on Steam, they made I want to say... Not DLC, what would it be called?
Workshop?
No. I mean, they made it's kind of like a DLC. They add in a couple of extra civilizations and a couple of extra story missions.
Oh, cool.
So because now it's online in a version that I can just download, people can go ahead and play with it, add on to it. That's the kind of HD remake I really like, because here's the game you love, it now looks a little bit nicer, and now the community can play with it and change it and have fun with it.
Yeah. That's great. So what about you, Shane? Do you have any remakes? Or is your life just perfect as it is?
It's just so good.
I just need a remake of my life, please. Can we reimagine my life?
I'd like a HD remake of my life. My wallpaper's a little low on the graphics.
They make
I'd like a reimagining of my life.
They have you ever seen? Obviously, it's just stupid. You can buy HD glasses for real life online.
Stupid.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah. Because everything just wasn't pretty enough with your own natural...
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a new
That's
low.
just sad.
I'm
No, but
dying
you don't have
inside
any...
now.
It's like...
Anything you can think of?
Hey, Martin, you look really nice in standard definition, but let me go get my HD glasses on.
Yeah, I know. Much better.
Like, whoa! I can see everything. These are 3D too, so you're coming right at me.
Oh god. I don't think I have any HDs I'm desperate to play, or anything really. Yeah, maybe Wind Waker, but I've still have a Wii and a copy of Wind Waker anyway, so it's just like, why spend money when I have it all? When I can just play it now?
But you could get crosshairs when you shoot your cannon. Don't you want crosshairs?
I don't really need them.
Cannon, what are cannons? I don't
I'm
like
just
cannons.
that good.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, if there's no remakes, then there's nothing you can say, really.
I mean, maybe if they do a Ruby Sapphire remake.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to see Crystal.
They're out there.
I'm actually wondering, like, since two of you have mentioned now Beyond Good and Evil HD, which is one of my favorite games. I love that game, so good. But I've always had it on PC, and I don't know if that already counts as the HD, because I don't think they've released it, or have they? Do any of you know if they released it on PC with like the HD thing?
Someone get on Steam.
Skype, Steam. Yeah, that's the one.
It doesn't seem like it. Apparently, you can get it on Steam, but it only requires 64 megabytes of memory. So apparently, the HD is not on PC, which is strange. But actually, I'm gonna say like the remake that I've actually enjoyed, even though I don't play it that much, is Dota 2. Because it's technically a remake. Or am I the only one here who plays it? Or played it?
A remake of what?
It's a remake of Dota.
Okay.
Oh, you know what I...
Wouldn't that be a sequel then?
Yeah, it's just a sequel.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing. Like, is it really a sequel if it's just the same thing? Like, it's just updated graphics.
I know what you mean. They, my friend just got me to download. It's not out here yet, but Phantasy Star Online 2. It's you just download the English patch and stuff, and it's. I love it because that was all me and my brother would play when we were younger, and this is the second one. But it's like what you're saying now, like. A lot of it still just feels the same in a way. Like we went through the first like training tutorial levels, and just I saw a lot of old enemies and maybe like one or two new ones, and I started thinking that I was like, this feels like the same old game. Not that it bothered me because that was one of my favorite games, and they just added a lot of stuff to it. Like customizing your character is way more detailed now. And you have more weapons.
And I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, like you said, like that it feels the same way, and I think that's the same way I feel about Dota 2. Is it feels exactly the same thing. Even the camera is too freaking zoomed in as it was in the original, and it's just annoying. I don't play it that much, but that's the only one I can really think of that I've actually played. So, yeah, I think that. I'm really happy that Shane came up with that it's about the spirit of the game. If it's not the same spirit, then it's Sonic Unleashed.
I like how Sonic Unleashed is going to become like the standard Wii U. It's like, is it comparable to Sonic Unleashed? Yes, it's a reimagining.
I don't know, what's worse, Sonic 06 or Sonic Unleashed?
I think Sonic 06 is just a bad game.
Was that the one where he like hooks up with a princess lady?
Yeah.
That just sounds... That sounds really awkward.
Well, I mean, really young... I don't even think she was 18 years old. Young human girl and a blue hedgehog. It's like a match made in
it's
my
love.
Nightmares.
He was born this way or something.
I don't know. We don't talk about 06.
No.
I think 06 still had that more focus on speed, like you actually went fast as opposed to Unleashed, which was punch people.
Well, it was like periodically punch people.
Yeah, but
which is even worse because that breaks up the flow even more.
Yeah, but like there was still that big thing about it, whereas with Sonic 06 it was just like, go fast. Alright, now go fast in this really small area.
Oh god.
So, yeah, it was just, I think Unleashed is what we compare for reimaginings, 06 is what we compare for terrible quality.
Yeah.
both
that's
are
probably
standards
correct.
for something.
This is Sonic 06, bad guys. We should just not even bother.
Yeah.
All right, so we've come to we're starting to reach our end, and well, we have a few things we can talk about more, but I don't want to keep Fizz for 2.5 hours or something like that. But how about we say each of us, if we can, mention a bad remake. And what would you have done to make it better? How about you go first, Jesse?
A bad remake? This is just...
Or perhaps you can mention one that you think you could have improved somehow.
This is just a bit nitpicky, but when they told me they were going to re-release Turtles in Time on the Xbox, I wish they had kept the original graphics and not the current graphics they're using for it. Because I just don't I don't fancy them. But I mean, that's a real nitpicky thing.
All right. But it's still the same game, no?
Yeah,
same feel?
Same game.
All right. What about you, Blow Pop?
Probably Silent Hill 2. Don't take out the fog and get the original voice actors.
Okay.
It's not a Silent Hill game without that. It really isn't.
But is for a person... I've never played Silent Hill 2, for example. And if I would play it, I can understand the fog, because it changes how you experience the game. But the voice actors, if I've never heard the original cast, would that really make a difference to me?
Okay, that's nitpicky on me. Because I actually have played 2.
It just, why fix what wasn't necessarily bad to begin with?
True, okay. So it was an unnecessary update in a way.
Yeah, it's why fix something when it's not broken.
Alright, okay. Fair enough. What about you, Katie?
Just a Tomb Raider one. Like, I'm not saying it was bad. It was really good, and I liked it a lot. It just, as far as remakes go, when I play something that's a remake, I like to feel that same feeling, I guess, like a nostalgia thing. Like, I guess that sounds dumb because it's like, well, you don't want to play the same game over and over again, but at the same time, I wish it would have felt a little more like it was attached to its puzzle roots and whatnot. More adventure. Well, I would like to see it remade. I want a remake of the reboot of Tomb Raider. There.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, it's kind of in the same sense of when you wear, for example, matching clothing. Like, you try to wear similar styles and feels of the clothing and things like that, right?
Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. It's a nice metaphor.
Yeah. So, for example, like, you're not gonna suddenly wear a bright red jacket with your entirely black attire because it's gonna stand out. Like, you want the same feel all over.
Mm-hmm.
But
in your
but different clothes, or else someone will call the fashion police on you. You can't wear that twice.
No, exactly. I mean, and that's kind of the same thing. Like, you still want to keep the overall theme similar in order to make the actual franchise itself a whole kind of entity.
From now on, when I'm trying to explain my feelings about Tomb Raider, I'm going to use your clothing example, Martin.
Feel free.
Thank you. I'll say a wise Swedish man once told me, red jackets, don't wear red jackets, yes.
It's the parachute pants of the Tomb Raider family.
Hey, parachute pants are actually pretty awful, but still.
No, I think they're cool, but I'm stupid, so never mind.
Take those off. You look silly.
Why do you want him to take his
MC
pants
Hammer
off?
could do it.
Oh god, it's getting into the X-rated cast again.
It's all happening so quickly.
Oh, goodness. Alright, well...
You forgot
where were we?
me.
Shane.
Yeah.
Shane.
Maybe I don't want to give an answer now. You forgot.
Well,
God.
Do you have one for me or not?
Ugh, honestly. Like,
I'm sorry, you can keep your
Casty
pants
doesn't
on.
even know I'm here.
Of course I did. I
Sure.
could never forget you.
That's what they all say. But, on topic. The Chrono Trigger for the Nintendo DS.
Oh.
it is the nitpickiest of nitpicky things. I would change the names back to the original Chrono Trigger names, because they changed all the enemies, and then all their names, not the enemies themselves, just the names. And playing through, it's just like, I remember this differently. Why did you make it different? Why?
Weird.
And I would probably also buff up, they added some little extra areas with higher leveled enemies and better items than that. But the higher leveled enemies are unimaginably easy to kill. So it's just I would make them a little stronger, so these end game bonus areas are actually slightly challenging, so I don't just go in and spam the ultimate attack and kill everything in one hit.
So they're worthwhile.
Yeah, so they're worthwhile, and it's feasible for me to actually get a high level as opposed to just... And the high level's actually useful as opposed to just kind of dicking around in New Game Plus as the level 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's small nitpicky things, but yeah.
Weird. Okay. So, well, for me, personally, I only have another small one. I consider this a remake because the feeling of all these games are similar, and that is the Warhammer 40k series.
Oh.
I don't know if any of you have played them on PC. They're RTS games. And you usually, in the story mode, you control a squad and you control what they wear, so you can change their equipment and weapons and skills. But when you play multiplayer, in the old ones, the more not Dawn of War, before that, they had tons of base building and stuff. It was a typical RTS, like StarCraft or whatever. But in the newer ones, they actually took away all the base building and focused on just unit to unit combat, and which is not bad because they optimized it quite well. But I still miss kind of building up, bases and armies and
the RTS feel.
Yeah, it was. It became more of a, I don't know, more of a tactical game in a sense, because you had to flank and kind of keep track of your units a little bit better.
They did bring the RTS feel back for Retribution, because you had the little bases and everything. And I do admit, I did actually like the just run around as a squad as opposed to have a home base kind of thing, because it's that didn't really match the 40k thing.
Right.
I don't know. I just preferred the strike squads as opposed to the base plus army, but that's just me.
I mean, obviously it's not a StarCraft thing, because it's not one unit each. You have the small squads, but for me, I want it to be a little bit more in this terms of company of heroes. Kind of you have some structures where you can build your squads from, but then you do mainly all the fighting, but also you have somewhere to retreat to and rebuild. Otherwise, it was always this one point, you had one little relay station or something, I remember, which you could easily just lose really, really quickly, and it just made the online and the multiplayer kind of meh.
Yeah.
So that's my only thing that I could think of, and I consider that a remake because it's still the same feel as any of the other Warhammer 40k games. All right, so we have reached the point where we will do the one thing where academic opinion means nothing.
Yay!
And
Yay!
so everyone can seem smart, and for that, we will ask, what remake would you wish could happen? Any remake.
Ooh.
Or reimagining, if you would like that. But I would guess that you would rather have a remake of any game. Which one would it be? And Katie, you may start.
I just saw one of my favorite Sonic games was the GameCube one with the Chows, and the game Like I've gone back and played it.
What game?
Sonic. It was on GameCube. It was Sonic 2 Battle Adventure something, and it was with Shadow the Hedgehog, and you had like the evil storyline and the good storyline. I would like them to redo it, because I want to play with Chows again. I'm guessing no one else has played it, but basically you had the little Chows.
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay, good. Because
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, forget the game. Like, once we beat it, we just spent hours with the Cheos or the Chows or however you say it. And I
never beat it. I just played for the Chows.
It's okay. Yeah, no, y'all see, he did it too. He did just, okay, you know what? Forget it. No Sonic, just a game about taking care of Chows. It'll be a 3DS game, and they'll be coming right at you, because they're 3D.
So, like Tokyo Jungle, but with Chows. Or how do you want it to play out? Like, do you just want it to be like Harvest Moon, but just with Chows?
I just want Chows.
You just want, okay.
I want to
any
feed them
platform,
skunks
or do you
and
want
dragons so they get tails.
Do you want it on like a mobile game, or do you want it to actually be like a Xbox thing or PS3 or whatever?
I think it'd be a good handheld game, and just pop it out and be like, oh, I gotta feed my Chow. He's love deprived today.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
I have no complaints for that.
So what about you, Blowpop? What would you like to see be remade or reimagined, if you would like?
Remake of Psychonauts. Just update the graphics to HD and give it achievement.
All right. And Steam cards?
No. No Steam cards.
Sorry, that was a joke.
Those things irritate the shit joke out of me.
All right. Psychonauts. So, Tim Schafer, get on that. Now you've done your freaking Broken Age. So, freaking get on that. So, what about you, Shane?
Probably Ruby and Sapphire. Pokemon. Well, we had Soul Silver for the last generation, so...
So why those specific Pokemons?
Because they're really fun to play. The starters are kick-ass, because it's like you have Swampert and Blaziken and then Sceptile.
Who picked him?
I did once, just so I could Pokedex. But yeah, like I just kind of want to play them again, and the fact that they're from the GBA era, so
the best
9 years ago.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, they're old.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I haven't played Pokemon since Yellow, so I'm behind.
Oh my god, yeah.
You're terribly
Pokemon's
behind.
an old series.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of turn-based combat at all, so...
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's really why I don't play Pokemon that much. But...
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd like a Ruby Sapphire, and I think it's probably a bit much to ask for Fire Red Leaf Green remake again, considering that'll be a literal remake of a remake, but, fingers crossed.
Alright.
Maybe that'll be next generation.
Alright, so, what about you, Jesse?
If I had to do a remake, I think I would prefer Rogue Squadron from the original Rogue Squadron from the 64.
Oh, I remember that.
Because I played the second and third Rogue Squadron, and what I didn't like about them was how much it rushed you through each mission. I kind of like the original, in which there were at least half the missions where you could just fly around and do really silly stuff. And I want them to kind of bring that back, that style, and that game again.
Okay.
Alternatively, it would be nice if they also did a remake of Star Fox 64.
Oh, yeah. That would be so good. Oh, I wish that would happen.
Star Fox deserves some love.
Yeah, I know, right? They only had Stairfax temperatures or whatever it was called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Star Fox Adventures.
Star Fox Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, that basically...
Yeah.
Oh, it's so stupid. Well, I actually think the one I had in mind is actually happening, but it's going to take a while, which is okay. And that remake is of... Well, I would like to have them remake this entire game as well, but they're making like a similar game. And that is Freelancer. I don't know if anyone here has played Freelancer.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay, great. Then I'm alone.
Is it a Swedish game for Swedish people?
No, it's not a Swedish game.
Yes, it is.
We don't
Must
have
be this
Swedish
Swedish to
game.
play.
Yeah. It's like a CAPTCHA in Swedish, and you have to be able to write the letters, otherwise you can't play it. No, but Freelancer was a game where you actually played as a pilot, like futuristic universe, whatever, and you just could do whatever you wanted. Like there was a story about alien artifacts and stuff like that, and but you could choose like your route. If you wanted to do smuggling, you could do like trading, you could do just mercenary jobs or like police work. You could do anything you wanted in the case of like earning money and progressing yourself in terms of reputation and stuff. And there was just a lot of really fun hours you could spend doing that. And what I would want them to do is update that with graphics, because that's one of the other games I have. That and Homeworld 2, which I have installed on my computer, that I needed to go into the config and like set all the stuff manually in order to make it work, because otherwise it would all messed up. But I would like them to remake that in HD graphics and multiplayer and co-op, because that would be amazing.
We'll play it with you when they do.
I would be amazed. That would be so awesome, because they've done mods where you can actually play it online, and I've done that. It's actually pretty fun. It's like an online multiplayer, like MMO way kind of thing. But that is mine, and I believe that is actually all I would love to see. But they're making Star Citizen, which is by the same guy who made Freelancer. I don't know if you guys know of that.
Learned something today.
Probably not.
I've heard of
It's
it.
called Star Citizen. It's really, really cool. And it's a similar spirit, so I'm looking forward to playing that. Plus, it's looking amazing. So, we didn't get to talk about movies, but I think we had enough to talk about games for this podcast. And I don't know, does anyone of you have any final things you would like to say or ask of all of us before we start to wrap it up? No one?
Mm-mm.
Nothing? No?
You just worry about making the reimagining, remastering, reboot, remake title. And, yeah.
Hey, thankfully I'm not the one who uploads it, but
Oh.
yeah. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see. All right, well then...
Good talk.
Yeah, well,
It went well.
thank you all. I would like to say thank you to all of you, and this has been a great podcast. It's the first one I've been hosting, so I hope that there will be more of them.
You did a good job. Very good.
Well, thank you.
Kudos.
I'm very happy about it.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
3 out of 10, but you know, take it.
Hey,
Didn't you
I'll take it.
Challenge
Didn't you
accepted.
commandeer the difficulty cast?
I did not hijack it. I helped Jack with some of the questions, because he came up with some and I came up with some, and then we kind of, like, if he didn't have one or to follow up with, I tried to like segue and bring it along. So it was a nice thing. Like, he appreciated it, thankfully. So I said sorry if I thought I was like interrupting. But yeah,
You've gone
I'm
mad with
looking forward to hearing
podcast
that one.
power.
No, but I'd like to thank you to all of you for sticking with me for this quite long podcast.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, all of you. I am the Swede, and with me I've had Katie, Shanikus, Jesse, and Blowpop. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.